Now we move to security, where 4 armed robbery suspects have been arrested by joint security forces comprising officers of the Nigerian Police Force and the Nigerian Armed Forces, amongst others, along Otukpo-Taraku Road, Benue State. A police source made the development known late Saturday night while sharing a video of the armed robbery suspects. The Benue State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Catherine Anene, urged newsmen to await the conclusion of the investigation by the investigation team. Earlier, the Nigerian Police Force revealed that 2 suspects were killed during a chase of armed robbers who robbed a bank, attacked a police station, and killed some police officers in Benue State on Friday. Now, to discuss this further, I'm being joined on the news by 2 gentlemen. One is a security and intelligence expert, Oluwaseyi Adetayo, and the other is a public affairs analyst, Iorliam, Shija. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on News Central Now.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
All right, let me begin with you, Adetayo. Now, it's quite an unfortunate incident. It brings back memories of a similar bank robbery incident that happened in Ikare, Ondo State in 2015, which left as many as 20 people dead, including police officers and also secondary school students. And another that actually occurred in Offa, Kwara State in 2019 that left 15 people, including 9 police officers, dead. They both cases, in both incidents, they attacked commercial banks, without hindrance. Now, I would like for you to tell us, Adetayo, what came to your mind when you heard of this particular robbery in Otukpo?
Okay, thank you so much. For me, it is not entirely surprising that such is happening if you're conversant or familiar with criminal activities and criminal gang groups in Benue State. We should not forget the infamous Ghana, and that is late Ghana, and the atrocities he perpetrated while he was alive. The same group that Ghana was leading while he was alive are still in existence. In fact, as we speak today, they are now into different factions, fighting for supremacy, collecting taxes, forcing communities to pay tax to them, more or less like gaining control of some parts of Benue State. And if you are familiar with what these people have been doing in the past, then you will not be surprised with what happened a few days ago in Otukpo. It was a well-coordinated attack. 5 banks were attacked simultaneously with law enforcement formations, simultaneously attacked at the same time. This was an attack carried out by people that are heavily trained, because it was carried out with precision. And so much of surveillance and casing took place because information available indicates that there was an intelligence at that local government level about this impending attack by the intelligence service. But how the information was utilized by the local authority is still what we are expecting response to that. I'm aware that the DSS raised a lot about this impending attack just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and today it's now in the story that it actually. And the information also indicates that these people actually visited several places that they saw could be an entrance to this operation to try to assess the capabilities. They went into the same police station. They went there to case that police station, identify where the DPO office is, the number of policemen at the gate, how ready their state of readiness. They went to those banks. How many policemen were guiding these banks, their state of readiness, and so on. Even they went to the office of the local vigilante service, asked for the leadership of the vigilante to identify who he was, how their capability to respond. And then they also went to other security agents like Immigration and Direct to see whether they carry arms. So it's not something that was carried out per chance. It was well planned, and it was coordinated and was well carried out. And according as against the assumption that these people could have come outside Benue State, the history of criminal gangs and activities in Benue State speaks otherwise. It shows that these people, and more so from the people that have been arrested and those that were killed, shows that these are gangs that were residents in Benue State. One of the two that was killed is identified to be a northerner, but also part of the criminal gangs in Benue State. So what this points out to us is that there's need for us to begin to look inward and look within.
All right, Mr. Adetayo, just hold that thought there. We'll move to Iorliam. Iorliam, next question is for you. Now, looking at what the Benue State government has actually done, can you hear me? Mr. Iorliam?
I can hear you very well.
All right, now taking a look at what the Benue State government has actually done so far, or is doing to bring the perpetrators of this incident to book, talking about arresting 4 of the armed robbers and also killing 2 of them in just a matter of days after the incident occurred. How would you rate the speed and also the efforts of the state government?
Yeah, I think there is a misconception I have to clarify about what the security expert have said. You see, if you know the security architecture of and you know the crime wave of Benue State, then what happened in Otupo is quite strange. He's talking of Ghana. Ghana is in an area. The area is called Sankara. That is why you have Katsina local government, you have Okum, and you have local government. So we have basically 2 major challenges in Benue State. We have the farmer header crisis, and then we have the banditry, which he emphasized. So, but from the Otupo axis, we've not actually had such, you understand. When you are looking at where Otupo is, most of the Zone C area where Otupo is, they share boundaries with the eastern part of Nigeria. So, looking at it as a Benue issue will be misleading. But let's not preempt. Back to the question you've asked. As I was trying to say, the attack was very daring and very coordinated. They attacked 4 banks, and what they did was that they sent 4 formations to different banks, 4 groups, and 2 other groups to the police station and to the vigilante. So they were operating simultaneously at about 6 places. That was what happened. And then they had 1 hour to operate. It was after the hour, they've done everything, they've killed, they were almost leaving when the securities, say they moved in. My challenge is the sincerity of what's happening, because even the casualties have been declared. The emphasis is on the 4 police people that were killed. They are silent on the numerous civilians that died. So for me, is the sincerity of the security agencies. Like the spokesperson of the police said, let's not preempt, but let us see the sincerity, because these people operated a coordinated attack for 1 hour without hindrance.
Mr. Iorliam, you talked about the casualties, being underdeclared. Yeah. How many casualties have you heard, that have been deceased?
The police said 4. Let me mention the official sources first. The police said 4. There's the DPO and about 3 police women that died. But what about the civilians? The news. If you take the nation of today, it's still going to see a song guide that just passed out of NYC that was written by UPA, and local sources are giving up to 20 casualties. I mean, about 20 people died. Local newspapers, like the ones based in Otupo and the ones here in Benue State. But you see, so those are the issues. We are looking at about 20 people, but the police are saying 4, laying emphasis on the security men that died. So these are the issues. Okay. So for me, is the hour they had. If the security agents were proactive enough, you have armed robbers operating in a very busy town like Otupo. Otupo is a second major town in Benue State, where you have Makurdi, Otupo, and Boko. So in a major town like Otukpo, where is a boundary town with the the eastern part of Nigeria, armed robbers operating for 1 hour without any interruption, I think that is strange.
All right.
For me, so to say that they chased and killed 2 and arrested 4, for me, until they declare the suspects, I would think it's safe facing. That is what I would.
All right, Iorliam, let's move the next question to Mr. Adetayo. Now, he did talk about, something very, very interesting. And you also earlier, Adetayo said, talked about vigilance. You talked about the DSS raising an alarm even before the accident. Now, when it comes to vigilance, what can be learned from this and also previous experiences, and what actions can be taken to prevent a reoccurrence? And I'm talking about from both security forces and also from residents.
Correct 2 things. Number 1 is Dr. Adetayo and not Mr.
All right, Dr. Adetayo, please go ahead. All right, we seem to have lost Dr. Adetayo there. So let's move on to Iorliam. Iorliam, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. I can hear you.
All right, so let's pass that question to you. Dr. Adetayo talked about the DSS, raising an alarm before the incident even occurred. So I was actually asking what can actually be done to... Okay, I think we have Dr. Adetayo back. Dr. Adetayo, please, did you get my question?
Question. I said, if we are talking about deaths, you need dead bodies to confirm deaths. Death is not something that we assume. And the more reason why we need to be careful before we put things in the public. We must follow with what government have said because they are working with the number of corpses they have at the morgues. Secondly, I said earlier that it is quick for us to assume that the perpetrators must have come from somewhere else, but which is wrong for us to assume at this point. Number 1, among those that were killed, one of them was discovered to be a Fulani. A Fulani does not work with people that we are assuming because they don't work together. And the second one is also seen from somebody they cannot particularly confirm his ethnicity, but from the northern extraction. And the 4 people that were arrested now, none of them is from this particular region that we're talking about. So it's important for us to be careful how we come about what we think or what we say at this particular point in time. And now talking about Ghana that I mentioned earlier.
All right, Dr. Adetayo, please, if you don't mind, can we just stick to the question at hand? Don't worry about what he said. It's good that you brought that to the fore. But the question I actually asked was when it comes to vigilance, because you did talk about, the DSS, raising an alarm before the incident occurred. So when it comes to vigilance, what can both security forces and residents do, learning from previous experiences and also, this particular experience? What can be done to prevent a further reoccurrence?
When we begin to underestimate capacity or capabilities of criminal elements, then we render ourselves exposed and we get caught unaware when this thing happens. Ghana group, yes, they operate around Sankira, but only 3 places in Benue State can you have 4 to 5 banks located. Is either you see it in Makodi Boko or Utuko. Those are the 4 places that you can see such institutions that cannot be attacked, which means that when criminal elements want to carry out such activities, they will look for where those things are present. And when they began to see strange faces in Utuko, alarm was raised. And I think what I need to suggest right now is that security agencies need to work together. And political institutions need to move beyond all this politicking and begin to listen to security agencies. When issues like this are raised, especially when DSS or police or military raise issues to say, this is what we feel or we're suspecting, based on intelligence that is available at our disposal, they are the action agencies that needs to work immediately and empower where needed so that these things could be nipped in the bud. This could have been avoided if when the DSS raised the alarm, the local institutions there took it up as a matter of urgency to call all the necessary traditional assets that they have. So because if they had arrested 1 or 2 of the people that were mounting surveillance that they saw in the town, perhaps this would have been avoided. And this is the place of intelligence. Intelligence is not only what government recognized intelligence agencies will provide. The traditional institutions as the most robust intelligence asset that they can deploy through the local institutions, the traditional institutions, to ensure that when they see things that are outside the norm, they do what they're supposed to do immediately. And if you don't begin to look inward and begin to treat the criminal elements in our states, if you look at other states where we've seen similar things, they come from other communities to come and carry it out. They go to where the treasure is. And the major places in Benue State where the treasures are, they are Boko, Otukpo, and Makodi. And of all these three, which one is farthest to Makodi? Which one is the most exposed? Which one do you think that a criminal element will want to carry it out and they feel that they can have highest level of success? So those are the things that intelligence agency, intelligence officers looked at. And when they are making their submissions, it's important for those who will take actions to do, what is needful as it is. And this is something that we need to urgently begin to address.
All right,
thank you.
Dr. Adetayo, thank you. Now let's quickly move on to Iorliam. Now, Iorliam, this is happening at a time where Nigeria is grappling with insecurity, banditry, farmer-herder clashes, and, a lot of issues. Now, aside the preventive measures that Dr. Adetayo has, talked about, what other preventive measures would you encourage that will strengthen the position of government and also security forces in the fight against this type of crime?
Yeah, thank you for the question. You see, if you're following the security challenge in Benue State, you know it's been ongoing. The major one was the issue of Fulani herdsmen attacks. Now, even before this armed robbery, what we have now is a case of kidnapping, which is happening in the Sangra area. You understand? As I talk to you now, the first local government chair of Kun local government has been staying for 28 days with kidnappers. And you also discover that the Commissioner of Information of Benue State just got released from kidnappers then about a week ago. Now you have this. So for me, it's sincerity and communication. The governor was in the villa about 5 days ago, where he went to brief the president about the security challenge in Benue State. And he made mention that since he came to power, there has been relative peace. For me, we don't have to politicize the issues in Benue State. For me, that is apart from what the doctor has said, we don't have to politicize the security challenge in Benue State. We have to look at the real issues. We have to involve as many people as possible. Because, like Adetayo said, Boko and Zakiban, if you're talking of Zakiban, that is a food basket of Benue State. Benue State is a food basket. In Zakiban, you have more banks than you have in Otukpo. And that is where these people operate. But, like he rightly said, some of these militia gangs have been taxing people. They have been collecting taxes from people in the area. Are the security agencies briefed? Because, he also made mention of intelligence you receive from DSS. The intelligence doesn't go to the people. It passes through channels. Are the people having access to this intelligence? So that synergy between the government and the people will also have to be established so that the people know when to be on alert. Why the people do their own local intelligence gathering, but the communication, the proper communication, the governor just came in, has just come to power. So for the pressure to be seen to be doing the right thing should not make it downplay the security challenge in Benue State. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Iorliam, for your perspective on this as well. We would actually have to wrap up this conversation, but thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us at this time to discuss this issue. We appreciate you.